When you go on a space mission, the food just kinda sucks. But what if astronauts could bring their favorite fast food with them on their way to Mars? In this video, I'm gonna make famous fast foods into space food using Photoshop. The 3 designs will follow the evolution of space food through the decades of space exploration, but I also need to follow a few rules. I have to stick to the limitations of eating food in space and make every design look like it has been repackaged by NASA. That should be easy, right? Our first design is KFC, and it will be set in the 60s. In 1962, there was the first mission where astronauts needed to eat while in space. And at the time, space food looked like this. It was pureed meat and vegetables in a 2-space-like tube. It doesn't sound very appetizing, but what if KFC made pureed fried chicken? Well, let's find out. First, I imported this neat tube, but it's supposed to be old, so let's blend some wrinkles into it. Let's draw a label, and we're ready to design.
Nice job, team.
I imported this vintage KFC packaging as reference because I think it looks really cool. I'm gonna steal this old KFC logo and its text when I'm at it. I'll dispose the text vertically so it fills the whole label. Now let's make the iconic stripes and extend them to the entire label.
Nice.
I'll add the text pureed fried chicken so that the astronauts know what's inside. I'll also mask away bits of it to enhance the vintage aesthetic and lift up the blacks for a washed out look. Now this looks very flat. So let's warp it, trying to follow the folds of the tube.
Oh no.
I know that looks bad, but if we duplicate the tube and apply it as shading on top, and with some nice paper wrinkles, it will be even better. I'll also grab some damaged paper texture, because I mean, it's 60 years old, so, you know. I did the same with a small label, and there you have it. It looks pretty good. And actually, KFC supplying food to NASA wouldn't be that big of a stretch, considering they source their flour tortillas from Taco Bell. Anyway, let's move on to the next design. When you're in space, there are no days, no nights, no seasons, just the infinity of universe. But I might have a solution to help astronauts keep track of time. Starbucks. They change their offering throughout the year, from spring to winter, and seeing all the craziness surrounding the pumpkin spice latte, I think Starbucks plays a big role in how we perceive seasons. And it would be nice to have this in space. First, we have to make our own pouch, because I couldn't really get a decent photo. Let's import a resealable foil pouch and stretch it. Then I'll cut out the tip of this gourd and place it at the top. If we give it a little bit of color grading and add texture on top, it will look pretty nice.
Woo! Yeah!
And that's where we face our first problem. Remember the rules? Well, that's what NASA's packaging looked like. It's super minimalist to reduce the risk of fire and chemical reaction, but also to save weight. And this means the area we can design onto will be roughly this size. It's pretty small. We have 4 designs to make, one for each season. The first one is spring, and for this one I really want to make a sakura latte. To me, nothing feels like spring more than this drink. In Japan, when Hanami approaches, everything becomes pink and they have a lot of limited time offerings, and it's like the best spring experience. Let's start by importing Starbucks logo, and I think the text logo just makes more sense on a rectangle like this. Obviously, we'll make it white, and then simply write the flavor. I'll steal flour from the internet and place it here.
Nice job, team.
The bottom feels a bit empty, so I'll dub the flavor in Japanese and add the weights and calories. I put random numbers. But to be fair, they're random, but plausible. I'll just add some texture to the label, and that's looking pretty good. Now, you might have been wondering why I drew this long label here, but if you paid attention to the official space foods, you know that they have barcodes to identify them. So let's import a barcode and place it here. I'll make sure it doesn't touch the border, and I'll add NASA's logo to make it look more official. Now I just need to smash my keyboard to make a random identification number, and now I'll make sure it ends with a 1 since it's our first design out of 4. Finally, I'll describe it below. Starbucks Sakura Latte Drink Powder, and we've got our spring design. Nice. Moving on to summer, I duplicated the project file, and let's replace the elements. We can start by writing lemon iced tea, which is the best summer drink. And I'll also make the label yellow. By now you're probably wondering where we're at in the history of space food. And freeze-dried food were used in space relatively shortly after pureed meat tubes. Presumably during the Apollo program, which first crewed mission was in 1968, so just a couple of years after the birth of space food. But in my opinion, that's a great improvement, so let's make the best out of it. Anyway, let's still a lemon and put it on our label. And to fill the emptiness, we can add a line. We just gotta change the ID number and the name iced lemon tea. And there it is. Autumn might be my favorite season. It feels like everything is slowing down and you can wear sweaters while enjoying hot beverages. Speaking of hot beverages, let's make pumpkin spice latte. This is the drink of fall. There are no other valid options. Same as before, we'll change the color of the label and the name. This time it fits on 2 lines, so it fills the label nicely. Now let's make a pumpkin. It's actually pretty easy. We just need a bunch of ovals, make them orange and add a stem. And with some shadows, it will look pretty good. It's time to destroy my keyboard again, and of course it ends with 3. Oh, and I almost forgot the name. There you have the Space Pumpkin Spice Latte. That's pretty cool. Last design is gonna be a gingerbread latte, because this drink feels like holidays. So same process. Text, color, still an illustration, destroy keyboard, and there we have our last Starbucks design. I'm super happy with what I've done with these. I think they look super cool. And the designs also have a purpose, which I really like. With our final design, we enter the modern era of space food. So it's time to make a full meal, and we'll start with the burger. You can't bring bread in space, because it makes crumbs, and it's not safe to have them flying around. Usually, NASA substituted it with tortillas, but I thought we could try another kind of flatbread. So I got a bunch of photos for our burger design, and I thought it might be better to prepare everything before starting. So I cut out the patty and the bread, but I also made the McDonald's cheese sauce. I took inspiration from this ketchup packet. I made mine yellow, added the logo, drew a square, and put cheese in it. Finally, I just wrote cheese with a somewhat similar font, and there you have mac cheese sauce. But to be honest, I did this because I'm scared of starting the design. The entire concept of this video is based on this design, and I'm terrified that I'm gonna mess up. So I've been playing Clash of Clans instead. Being scared is useless, and the only reason I am is because I really care about making this video. So let's do it. I'll import a plastic pouch, scale it, stretch it, and that'll do. I want to dispose every element first to make it easier to see what's going on. I'll start with the patty, then the flatbread, and finally the sauce packets.
Nice job, team.
And that's where it gets difficult. I have to warp these plastic textures on top of my elements to make them look vacuum sealed, and it really doesn't look like much. But layers after layers, it's coming together. Now, I just gotta do it all over again for bread. I'm definitely just gonna copy and paste it. Usually, when you take the air out of a plastic bag, it doesn't stay perfectly rectangular. So let's warp it. Plastic bags are also usually transparent, so let's color the background and mess with the layer style. Since these packets are not magically attached, we're gonna tape them to the bag. The only things missing are the label and the barcode. For the label, I'll import the McDonald's logo, write the calories and macros, and then name it Space Mac Meal. I'll steal the Starbucks barcode and modify the name and ID. The only thing left to do is warp them. We're missing a side and a drink, so let's reuse the pouches I made for Starbucks and modify the labels. We'll have Mac Puree, which is mashed potatoes. And since McDonald's in France carries Lipton lemon iced tea, and not in the US apparently,
What?
we're gonna make a label inspired by this for our drink. I'll make the label blue and add the Lipton logo. Then add a touch of yellow and write iced tea. Then I'll write lemon with a vibrant yellow and add an outline. And that's pretty much it. Astronauts nowadays eat out of a tray where pouches are attached with a velcro and calorie is retained by a magnet. I definitely think we need a Space Mac tray, so I'll import a tray and make it red. Then I'll get some velcro and make it yellow for a nice contrast. I couldn't find magnets that could fit, but I put the metal texture in these rectangles and added the darker side. It looks pretty nice. Now I'll add calorie on top, a fork for the mashed potatoes, and a pair of scissors to open the pack. I'll give them a proper shadow, and that looks nice. I want to engrave this tray with NASA's and McDonald's logo, just like this. And now we can just import our pouches. We'll add shadows and an M so that you know for sure it's McDonald's. And there we have it, the Space Mac Meal. That might be my favorite design I've made on this channel. It was a lot of fun working on this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If that's the case, you can subscribe and like this video, and if you want to watch another one, you can click right here.